I handed out to you guys before break the when you see you think, right? All right. What was the goal of this page, of this packet that you have that's technically an ongoing homework? Oh, you never got this one, Sean? Okay, what is the goal of this? Guys, just look at it. Yeah, you know your concepts, and when you see certain directions, your brains are going to jump to the right place in the math, right? As to what they're referring to. So before spring break, it was on one of the videos, Sean, we started talking about the limits and the pre-cal stuff. Because that was like with review number 1. Now, what was review number 2 that you guys were working on? Hey! So maybe there are some of those that you could be filling in, right? What was review number 3? Okay, MBT, IBT, EBT, maybe not all the applications, but have you in your practice exams, have we been needing to talk about increasing, decreasing, relative extrema, inflection points, etc.? Are all of these forever cards? No. There's more of these than there are forever cards. Why? Because this is referring to words that will show up in problems, and so not just the core foundational ideas, but also applications of those ideas, what they could actually be asking you. And so you're supposed to be filling in on the other side is, or what you're supposed to be filling in is, what should I be thinking of doing? What should I be referring to? It could be a graph, it could be a picture, it could be a process. It could be a forever card every now and then. But for this one, for instance, D9, how do we know that MBT is holding or is able to be used for a certain function? What are the two things that have to be true? Continuous on a close interval, and differentiable on a. That's all you need to state right there, right? So this is another way of digging into the forever cards and not just digging into having them memorized, but being able to use them to actually solve. Does that make sense? Now, what if as you're going through, some of these get confusing for you? Yeah, maybe go back in notes. Maybe actually even Google it online if that's something that you think would be easier than notes. But you can go to your table of contents. These sections kind of go through the order that we went through. But I also have something another teacher made, a PowerPoint that goes through almost all of them with their version of what to put. Now, just because it's their version doesn't mean it's the best version. No, but it might give you an idea. Does that kind of make sense? Okay. I think I eventually, probably at the end of this week, I eventually will put up one version of it totally filled out. But once again, it's one version and it might not be the best way for you for every single blank, because ultimately you're trying to make this something that your brain can say, hey, I know exactly what I'm doing. Some of you just say, find the x-intercepts, easy, done. But some of you are like, oh, when f of x is equal to 0, those are going to be and draw a little picture. It's when it intersects the x-axis. It could also be called the solutions. Like some of you need maybe a little bit more information. And as we're going through, when you guys go through and try this entire packet, maybe some of these are still going to be kind of blank or kind of empty until we get to a practice problem. You're like, oh, that's one of those when you sees that I didn't understand. Let me get out my packet and let me write myself a little note about what to do. Does that make sense? Okay, so if I were you, I'd be having this packet out, and I'm not going to be giving you LTF number 4 because I want you guys to start getting more of the when you see you things done. The easy ones you can go through and fill out from your forever card knowledge. The harder ones, you see them, and as we're doing practice problems, as we're answering questions, as we're going over the grading, maybe then you can actually be filling in some of those when you see you things because you're like, oh, this question said this is what we did, okay, this is what I need to remember. Does that kind of make sense? Okay. I wanted to let you guys know that too because you could definitely be filling this in kind of as we go through different things in class. David, go ahead. Monday after school, I literally lock the door, I put the black screen up, and it is just us, and we're doing the mock AP. So the only noise that's going to be is anybody who's being loud in the hallway or outside. Yeah. Don't worry, I totally preserve. Oh, yeah. That's right, I will. So this when you see you think, kiddos, I'm going to say due Friday, but listen to me on this. That's what I said before spring break. That's why maybe you could have been working on it over spring break. I'm saying due Friday, but I'm not going to necessarily be doing a huge long spot check and making sure you've done everything. It's okay to have gaps and holes that you're still going to be filling in over the next few weeks, but I want you to have gone through the whole thing and at least filled in the ones that you already know and been working on maybe trying to fill in some of the others as well. Because the practice exam does go over like all sorts of problems from everything, derivatives, integration, applications, limits, but it's not going to be as comprehensive as going through the When You See You Thinks by Saturday. So that's a way of reviewing everything we've done by Saturdays. It doesn't mean you have to have it perfect, but you should at least have a pretty good attempt done by Friday. Like you should have a good amount of things filled in. Does that make sense? Okay. All right, so we're at the practice exam. Speaking of practice exams, I am not requiring any other practice exams this week. However, some of you are like, I want to practice more. Cool. I put up an optional practice exam, which is technically kind of like the evens of the Laying the Foundation reviews. This is going to be bonus all the way up until the actual AP, but some of you are like, I want to print it out and be working on it because I need more problems. Does that make sense? So here's an optional exam. After the mock AP, there's going to be 2 to 3 to 4 more that I put up. College board, practice exams, old exams, etc. There's going to be one more required one after the mock, but there are going to be probably 2 to 3 other optional ones that are worth bonus. But, I mean, practice exams are way harder than the evens of the reviews, right? So it's going to be worth double the points if you go through and do a whole practice exam. But remember, is this due this week? No. All the way up until the AP. But some of you, print it out. You need more problems? Here are more. Does that make sense? Cool. Nathan. Oh, thank you. I have it open. I never actually showed it. You guys have raw scores, right? For the year 2003? For the year 2003, figure out where your raw score falls. If you had between a 69 and a 108, careful. A 68.75 doesn't round up. Nothing rounds up. Every now and then you might get a decimal. But if you had at a 69 or above, you had a 5. If you had a 51 up to a 68, you had a 4. If you had a 35 to a 50, you had a 3. This is the raw score. This is the number, not the percentage. 23 to 34 are 2, 0 to 22 are 1. Now, some of you are like, oh, wasn't as bad as I thought. Because 3 is technically passing. Now, we obviously want in the 4 or 5 range rather than the 3 range because some schools wouldn't accept the 3. But it still shows pretty good, actually a very good, I would say, grasp of calculus. 2, I actually still would say is good, but maybe not on this one because some of you I could tell were a little more gracious on yourselves maybe than you should have been. Maybe looked at the answer keys a little more than you should have. Maybe looked at your notes a little bit. Scores I think are not quite, but we'll see on Saturday. We'll see on Monday. Then it's going to be really real. Coming back. If you did go through and try it within the time limits without really accessing anything extra and being kind of hard on yourself with the FRQ grading, you should have a pretty good idea of where you were when you took this exam. Okay? Now, just because you're in a certain category, does that mean you're stuck there? No. You could slip down if you're silly and not careful, because some of you guessed right on some that maybe you won't guess right on Saturday or the actual. But I've seen scores go down. I've also seen scores go from 2 to 4s, from 1 to 4s, from 2 to 5s. I've seen scores jump a lot between the practice and the mock and then the actual. Okay? So they can slip, but they can also rise. How do we try to get our scores to rise? Let's figure out mistakes. Yeah, practice. Let's figure out mistakes. Let's figure out which ones you should have been able to get. And let's figure out which ones are like, that was just a nasty problem. They were mean. I don't mind a few mean ones. Do you guys look at this? Did you look at this? Did anybody divide 69 by 108 to figure out what percentage a 69 out of 108 is? You only have to get like a 60. So I'm guessing Nathan's doing it. 69 divided by 108. A 63.888%. Now, some of you are like, it's easy. It's not. Those problems are hard. A lot of you were like, I had to mark so many wrong. Yeah, they're hard. That's why the range for a 5 are more points than even down here, the range for the 1. Okay? They give you a good range. They give you lots of grace because they give you really hard problems. So let's go try to figure out which ones could you have gotten right or could you get right. Last questions on grading, Nathan. We were gonna have a grading session on Monday, but that's our makeup day, so probably grading session Tuesday or Thursday with the BC kids helping me with your FRQs because it's good experience for them. But then I have to do all the rest. Yeah. I do Scantron for multiple choice, and I bust that out. I do have to worry about the weighting, but the hard part is the FRQs. Everything else, it's clockwork if I can get the FRQs done. So yeah, I'll have 19 kids, 6 FRQs with the guideline, and then making sure that yours are graded right. Go team, Sean. Okay, on the mock exam. If you get in the 5 range of the exam I give you, okay, you're going to have an automatic 100% on the final, replacing your lowest test score. Okay? If you're able to get in the 4 range, now you guys can tell this is more than 10 points, and some of these are less than 10 points. I take this range, I take the 90 to 99 percentages, I split them up, I'm very mathematical about it, I split them up so that each of these point ranges ties together with the percentages. So depending on where you land, you get a 90 to 99. For 3s, an 80 to an 89. For 2s, a 70 to a 79. For 1s, a 60 to a 69. Why? I have seen a lot of kids get 1s or 2s on the mock exam, and even some, to be honest, on the actual, who still have a really good grasp of calculus. They're just not quite ready to be pushed forward in college and skip something. I've even seen kids in 3 and 4 that probably shouldn't go to Calc 2 when they go to college. They should take Calc 1 again. Why? Because they'll ace it, and they'll figure out how college teachers teach, and they'll get to tutor their fellow classmates, and they'll feel really confident about math and be able to keep going. Okay? I had BC kids last year that got 5s who went to UCLA honors program, and they went into the class that they naturally should have gotten into because of their progression, and like, okay, let's jump ahead. Here I am ready to go. And they kind of died the first quarter. Why? Because college is hard, and they were really smart, like got all the awards, super awesome, and it was really hard. I had another person go to UCLA, not take the honors math and try to skip ahead, took one right before that, which was kind of in between Calc 1 and Calc 2. Got her feet into it. She feels really confident, doing really well, wasn't near as stressed to start. So that's for you guys thinking towards college. But for Saturday, that's how I break up the scoring. And for you guys to realize, we're working really, really hard to try to get you in the 3 through 5s. But I've literally had kids get 1, go to college, and be like, Miss D, I had to take Calc 1 again. It was awesome. I aced it, and I tutored my class. It's pretty cool. Pull out your forever cards. The class will be like, ooh, I want some. And here we go. You ready? Let's get into this and see what kinds of questions we have. So let's start with FRQs are going to be really hard to start into. Tons of questions on FRQs. Let's go ahead and do, for the rest of class today, let's do some multiple choice. That's going to be a little bit easier as far as getting through some. So I'm going to go and actually go in order. That way we can just kind of be strategic. Once again, if you're bored, could you be working on evens? Yes. Could you be working on when you see you thinks? Yes. You don't have to just be sitting and watching. I want to make sure that your time is maximized, but all of us are different as to where we are. So here we are in the multiple choice, which is, solutions. I have to come back to here. Killing me. Oh, now it goes. Okay. All right, let's go ahead and look first of all just in 1 through 5. Any questions on 1 through 5? Okay. Any questions 6 through 10? Okay. Any other questions 6 through 10? That's okay. Okay. Let's start with number 3, then going to number 9, and the rest of you guys can be looking at if there are any multiple choice you want us to stop at that are coming up. Number 3 loves, yeah, go ahead. Someone else just walked out. On just walked out? Okay. This question gave us horizontal asymptote. Kiddos, you just have to think about what is a horizontal asymptote. Horizontal asymptote tells us I have no idea what's going on in between, but eventually my function somehow, it could be below, it could be above, they could both be above, both be below. All I know for horizontal asymptote is eventually this happens. Do I have any idea what's going on in between? No. So, I have no idea if this is true. I don't know any y values in particular. I don't know that the function, now this is what a lot of people would have chosen. I don't know the function can't be 2 because it can cross. All I care about for horizontal asymptotes are the ends. Vertical asymptotes, can I cross? No. Horizontal asymptotes is just end behavior, so I don't know what's going on in between. Does that make sense? You're welcome. It's okay. I told you about it, but it's been about an entire year. Anyway, so... Oh, sorry. This one, I have no idea values. This one, the limit as I come towards 2, that's a vertical asymptote. This one says end behavior as you go to infinity. And similarly, should be negative infinity. My y's will be headed towards 2. Okay, number 9. P.S. Are horizontal asymptotes on your when you see you think? You better bet they are. So if you're bored, go find the when you see you think about horizontal asymptotes. Limits to infinity. Number 9. It's all about a u. Because the derivative of ln of u is 1 over u times u prime. So your u is this entire expression, right? And that's what you see shown here. You need to find your u prime at some point. They go ahead and do it here. So I have 1, derivative of 4 is 0. Derivative of e to another u. You can call it e to the v. Wouldn't I need to do e to the v times v prime? So there's my du. Now I need to go ahead and take the derivative of this guy, which would be 1 over u times u prime. And then plug in 0. And so at the end of the day, 0 plus 4 is 4. E to the 0 is 1. E to the 0 is 1, so that's going to be 5. E to the 0 is 1. Negative 3 plus 1 is negative 2. Dun, 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 dun. They're calling it du kind of because they've been through calculus. They've gotten to differentials. Seen that for integration. Du is another acceptable way of saying u prime. Remember with our du, u prime is equal to du dx. I don't like using that, so I use u prime instead because technically the dx should be over here, and then it gets a little confusing. So that's why I don't use du to be u prime because technically it's not. So I would say the better way of doing it would have been u prime, u prime. Yeah, Sean.
So when they do that v prime part, why did they not multiply the negative 3 to the entirety?
Because it was just taking the derivative of this guy. So derivative of is e to the u times u prime. PEMDAS would say only he's multiplied, not him. Yeah. Okay, other multiple choice questions 1 through 10. All right, 11 through 15. 15? Okay. Hey, did you guys, hold on, pause. Number 12, for some reason, a lot of kids don't like related rates, but was it really all that bad? Yeah, and directly proportional, to be honest, you're not going to see that pre-cal very often on AP exams, but you could see that pre-cal. But if you were to need, if you lose, couldn't you have gone ahead and maybe plugged in some stuff? Anyway, that one was more just translating. Some people thought it was related rates. It really wasn't. But 15, he was nasty. But, oh, go ahead. Yeah. Let's go back to 11 real fast. It's all about him. Starting with dx, this is x's, better be x's, these are x's. But as soon as you see du's, I'm not allowed to have x's in the bounds anymore. I need everything to be in terms of u. So I need a function of u and I need u bounds. Does that make sense? Yeah. Okay. 15, guys, the key word was increasing. No, decreasing, right? Hey, when you see you think. It's there. It's also in the forever cards. When you see decreasing, what should you be thinking? And then check it. What did they give you? Didn't they give you f prime? So they gave you f prime. F is decreasing when, look like when f prime is less than 0. So how do I know that? Well, I want to look at a sign chart and see it. Well, I can't do a sign chart until I find critical numbers. So they went ahead and, where did this come from? Critical numbers. Isn't it a pitchfork? Pause. So that way we can see. They made it a nice little combined fractions at the top, bottom equal to 0. Critical numbers, sign chart solved. Guys, have your color pens ready for tomorrow, maybe even a different color than your grading. We're going to keep on going through questions. And have your LTF number 3 ready for a spot check. Bye, guys.